Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are and what time it is in your time zone. Hi there, I am Dr. Lita J, and today I want to talk about study habits, how to break bad Naplex study habits, and talk about introduce you to some, if you don't know, the habit loop. So let's get started. And I'm going to be talking, I'm trying to be quick, trying to like this new try like let's see how we flow. So I'm gonna, if I don't respond to your comments in real time, I probably more likely will. Okay, afterwards. All right, let's get started. So today we'll be talking about better study habits and how to change them. And let's go through this. So this video, well, this live, not video, this live is sponsored by SOAR in 2024. Beginning of this year, I said that we're going to soar in 2024, and we as a team created an entire series on soaring in 2024. So if you haven't watched it and you need that reset and that mid-year reset, please watch it. I promise you'll benefit from it, especially it's designed to help, we literally designed to help student pharmacists and pharmacists accomplish more with less time and less stress. So exactly what it says. Okay, let's get started. And for those who do not know me, hi there. The brand I'm the CEO of a company called Pharmacy RPH. Our mission is to transform the American healthcare system through educating the next generation of pharmacists in an environment that truly fosters innovation, approaches to learning, community, and resilience building, because that's the highlight of what we really do. And I'm Dr. Laquita J. I help farm. I'm a Naplex success strategist, or you may see a health farm these success strategists. They're interchangeable because I do um, more focus on like the PharmD, you as a whole, you as the pharmacist. And I do help pharmacists shift their mindset, strategize their study plans to be effective for the NAPLEX exam. I have been a NAPLEX prep coach since like 2017, but I've been in full time in it in 2020. I did take a break to get my master's in public health and to actually start figuring some things out. So yes, I am definitely a health equity advocate. I believe in the making sure everybody has not necessarily equality but equity and the same view when it comes to resources and health. Do have a very broad type of experience. Community pharmacy, I practice in that. Public, being in the PBM sector of prioritizations, I've done that. I've been into the government sector as well, and consulting, being public health consultant as well on different projects. So this is me and my ride, ready to like post for those who do not know me. Hi there. But today I want to talk something about this. I want to talk about the habit and breaking the habit loose. And I'll even say one of the things that has come in, and let me move this, I'm going to talk a little bit. Um, One of the things here is when it comes to habits, it's one of those things you have to ask yourself. It's a hard thing to study. A lot of times when I'm having new clients, one of the main things we're going to do is focus on your habit and creating your Netflix study system. And one of the things we talk about all the time are habits and the things you can do to prepare better, move you forward, and how to really break those bad Netflix habits. And I want to take some time in to go into that, because the Netflix exam, in order to truly maximize your preparation for the Netflix exam, you have to create effective study habits. And this is a crucial framework that enhances your study process. And one of those things is called the habit loop. And I'll get into it more. But it's one of those things of, you have to really say, what are the things that's hindering you from moving yourself forward? And one of the things could be your habits. I want to really dive into this because I believe by understanding and leveraging the habit loop, you can, as a pharmacist, can really build sustainable study habits that improve your retention, you reduce your stress, as well as enhance your overall performance on the Netflix exam. So let's get into this. What is the habit loop? Now, the habit loop is a concept that was popularized by Charles Duhigg, and in his book, The Power of habit. It describes the process which habits are formed and maintained through these components of cue, routine, and reward. Now, these habits here, look, let me get into my slides. Let me get into it. So, these components of the habit loop are cue, routine, and reward. Cue is the trigger that initiates the habit. It can be the specific time, your emotional state, a particular location, or any signal that prompts this behavior. A lot of times, especially in the SOAR series, it was a video designed on one day. It was a video that said like how to maximize your study sessions, and there's something talk about peak energy, that specific time of the day, and that can be a cue. Have you ever noticed how most people between 1 and 4 o'clock get very sleepy? Because typically you ate at 12 and you're sluggish, so it's not as max productivity. You may be more productive before lunch. So that's a cue, a trigger that can create this habit, like initiate this habit or this bad habit of where between 1 and 4 o'clock you really don't study as much. The cue is that time of the day you already eating. So that's one of the things there. Second component is routine. Routine is the behavior or action that follows the cue. That is the habit that is performed. So the cue is we're in that 1 to 4 o'clock slump. Let's just say for purpose of this 2 p.m. and we are extremely sleepy, we can't do it. And the habit is to get like, oh well, let me, especially you're studying and I'm full, well let me watch TV or something. Let me watch something, do something distract. That's the bad habit itself. And the third thing is going to be your reward. The positive outcomes are benefits that receive from performing the routine. That basically reinforces the habit, reinforcing the good habit. So that's the components of it. But a lot of times with the bad habits, we just only stay in cue and routine, and it's more of a bad habit in the routine part. But this is how the loop is, and you have to understand in this loop, it really is essential for helping you identify and modify your habits. And these components, by manipulating these components of the habit loop, you can really develop new ones, positive habits, or change existing ones, especially those unproductive ones. And that's what we're going to focus on today. But I have to let you know like why it's so important for you to know this, especially when you're preparing for the Naplex. Now, one thing it can do, the habit loop is particularly important for you because of one, its consistency and efficiency. It helps you develop those stronger study habits that ensures consistent study sessions. It's very critical when you're covering a vast amount of information. It's definitely required for the Naplex. You have to have a system. You have to have like productivity, and this is going to help you. And with those considered habits, which leads to effective study time, and it maximizes your learning outcomes. It also helps you reduce stress. By establishing a routine, it reduces the cognitive load that's associated with the planning and decision making. When your study sessions become habitual, you can really spend less mental energy deciding when and how to study and reducing the stress levels because you know what you're going to focus on, what you're going to do. Another benefit is enhancing the retention. When you have regular habitual study sessions that promote study sessions, that it really helps with the promotion of information, the repeat exposure to the material, the combined reinforcements provided by the habit loop. It really helps you to embed more deeply in your memory what the information is. So also, motivation and discipline. Motivation, discipline, of course, that's the reward component. And that's the reward component of the habit loop, which helps you to maintain a motivation discipline by knowing that you maximize your study sessions, that you have better learning outcomes. You want to reward yourself. So it helps you to experience more positive outcomes from studying. So, of course, You get rewards like passing the Netflix, but you also feel like because you accomplished something, you can do something. Like for me, for instance, most recently I was invited to engagement. However, I didn't do what I needed to do to be consistent for myself. So I was like, hey, the reward's going to be going to the event, not me repping my studies and the things I need to do around it. It's like, no, that's the reward. So I had to realize the cue was for me was procrastinating, because I was procrastinating. It was a time of the day. I was tired and all those things. But I had to say, hey, but this is the habit of we have to be consistent. And I started, doing the actions to what the things I want to accomplish, the goal I want to accomplish. And that was one of the things, like, for instance, and I'm particularly saying the habit was, if you watch my Success Sunday video, I talked about how it was such a struggle for me to record that video. I recorded like 7 or 8 times. But the thing was, I was getting frustrated because the reward of the goal was for me to record the video and then I'll go to the engagement. But because the video took long, I missed the engagement. But overall, I was satisfied that I did what I said I wanted to do and I didn't renege on myself. So that is the benefit of it. Now, we know a little bit of what the Netflix, well, not the Netflix, talk about the habit loop for the Netflix preparation. Let's dive into it, because I want to make sure we are very practical when we're talking about this. So let's show you how to implement the habit loop into your study sessions. So one, as always, like I said, is that one of the key things is the cue. So you need to identify the cue. And I just realized that I did not change these. I duplicated too much, but I didn't change it. So we're going to scratch this out. I'm just going to talk this out because what's on the screen ain't what I need to say. But identify the cues. Like I said, the cues are the triggers that initiate the study habits. So you want to have like positive ones. So again, the time of the day, what is your peak energy? If you haven't watched, go back to that SOAR video. I'll link it. I'll link it in the comments after this. Go back to that. What's your time of the day? What is your best time you study during the day? Is your regular study time starting at 8 o'clock in the morning? Location. Are you in a quiet room? Are you in a library? Are you in a space that's cluttered in your house that you can't overthink? And mind you, clean space is very important, because when your environment is cluttered, your mind is cluttered as well. And it also affects your emotional state. And the emotional state is also another cue or trigger. Like using your feelings of stress and anxiety is a cue to start studying. Like turn those positive emotions into productive triggers. For instance, if you ever had the course, and it's a course available, I guess I'll link that below too, the Unbeatable Mind course. I always talk about the cue of when I was preparing for the Netflix exam and I get so overwhelmed and I have the fear of failing. I feel like, oh, I can't learn this information, it's too much. I'll have a cue of the cue. That's the cue of what I feel. That's the emotions that I feel. And the routine is, I developed a routine which I broke down, and I'll read these whole things. It's a entire thing in Unbeatable Mind. Like I said, if you a special person who has failed the Netflix, you're on your second, third, fourth, fifth attempt, that is a game changer move to take. And it's one of those things that was the cue. Like the cue was me feeling like I'm a failure. And my routine was to do exactly this. It's a whole list of things I did. And eventually it just became like I believed in myself and my mindset changed. So definitely how to build an unbeatable mind. That's definitely one. So those identifying the cues. One, like the time of day, your study location, your emotional state, those all play a hand in it. And the second thing you want to do, that's how you implement it. So identify what those triggers are. And then whatever the trigger is, we're going to develop a habit of it. Develop the routine. So identify the trigger. If for you it's the time of the day, maybe your location, maybe your emotional state. Identify what the cue really is. Then let's go now. We should be developing routines. Okay, so the routines. The routines are the action you're going to take in response to the cue. So you need to establish clear and structured routines. For one, a routine could be the Pomodoro technique. For instance, let's go with the time of day. So the trigger or the cue is the time of the day. You between, like I said, 1 to 4, you're not as productive as you would like to be. So a routine could be is doing implement a Pomodoro technique. Now every single Monday I go live on YouTube and I implement this technique. It's just like when you were in school, how you always had 15 minutes of lesson instruction and then you a 10-minute break. That was the Pomodoro technique. Just in a long form, because the Pomodoro technique is 25 minutes of work followed by a 5-minute break, but they just combine it together because the Pomodoro technique helps you to maintain focus and prevent burnout. So that can be a thing of it's the time of the day. And also another routine you can do is after learning strategies. This can be more so practicing questions. So during that time of day, let's keep on the time of day like it's that 1 to 4 o'clock slump. And for me, it's one of those things of I can practice questions, or especially when I was studying, I'll use that time to slump. It's for me, I'll use the time for watching videos, the prep videos. I will also use that time to practice flashcards, practice math questions. It was something where it'll feel like it's fun. Because a lot of times, like me, I'm just thinking like I don't really like math. I'm just good at math kind of person, and they'll be all listen to music because it feels like I'm not studying, but I'm actually practicing and working. So it may be time to do like after learning activities or doing activities that doesn't require a lot of brain power because you're so tired. And then too, you can also schedule reviews during the time. So when it comes to time of day as well, if you are a morning person or a night owl, whatever your peak energy focus is, use those times to schedule reviewing because that helps you develop your routine. And always when reviewing properly, in reviewing previous material, that really helps in reinforcement of the retention of the information. And I always like to say when it comes to developing routines, you want to make sure that you have balanced sessions, missing those different topics and things. I'm always going to say that at minimum, you should cover something for areas 1 through 3, as well as area 4, i.e., that means a disease state as well as something with math at least every session. Just make sure it's balanced. Just don't be so focused on one thing as well. But that's how you develop routines. So even if it's like I said, the emotional state of those bad energy, unbeatable mind is basically the I'd show you how to develop a routine to create a unbeatable mind. That's definitely one too. And if it's like a location, something like that, like I said, if your room is cluttered, you just have to make time to build a routine of, okay, and after each study session, I'm going to take 20 minutes to declutter my desk. So when I come back to the area, it's clean and organized. That may be one for you. And the third thing you can do, we talked about, oh, I'm sorry. Hi there, if you're joining. We're talking about developing a habit loop. One was identifying your cues, your triggers, the things that's causing you, like time of day, location, emotion state. 2, we're on now is once you have that cue, develop a routine for it, especially if it's a negative like a negative trigger, develop a routine for it. And then the other thing is too, when you develop the routine and you say, hey, like when I felt like I was fearful and I felt like I was about to fail and I went to the unbeatable mind routine, I'm going to reward myself with X, Y, Z and rewards. And this is the third thing is to identify rewards. Rewards help you to produce positive feedback. You identify those meaningful rewards, which helps you to stick to your study schedule and your routines. So some kind of rewards can be like immediate rewards, like let's just take a short break. Or it can be like, I'm going to enjoy this snack because I did something, or because I did not get sleepy during my 1 to 4 time that I kept studying through. I'm going to treat myself to a cup of coffee tomorrow. It can be something simple as that. Long-term rewards can be just tracking your process in a study journal or planner, and that's exactly what we're doing. As I told you guys that I'm creating a Naplex study planner, and that's one of the things we will have in the planner is for you to track your progress of as you study, so you can see, hey, I've created something, I've done something. You can see the milestones and see the progression that you have done to achieve those goals. That could be definitely one, and some type of some intrinsic rewards can be simply just knowing that you have learned and mastered the information, that you can teach it to somebody. You pass in their place. You are a licensed pharmacist. That is definitely one. But as always, I want to make sure that I give you some actionable steps as well, like some how it would look. I've not been talking about it a little bit, but I want to go into more like specific habit loops and what things you can do. So one example can be your morning study routine. Your cue is morning coffee at 7 a.m. And your routine can simply be sitting at your study desk with a cup of coffee. Your cue is I'm sleepy. I'll say other triggers like I'm sleepy. I need my morning coffee. Get up in the morning, get your morning coffee at 7 a.m. The routine, you sit at your designated desk with the whatever study area with a cup of coffee. You review your study plans for that day, and you start to go into your use the Pomodoro technique for 2 hours. Again, if you want to know how that looks in real time, I do this every Monday. There's plenty of places you can watch. I'm more likely will we change it up a little bit. It will actually be studied with me, so I'm looking forward to how that's going to go and just flow. We're going to try something different, see how it works. Okay, so look out for that for on YouTube on Mondays, and you can focus on with those Pomodoro techniques. You use like one subject at a time, and then your reward can be because your cue was I'm sleepy, I'm tired, I got my morning coffee. My routine is I had my morning coffee, cup of coffee in my study area. I did a Pomodoro technique. I focus on that. I reviewed my study plan. The reward can be okay, after this session, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk. Or that could be something immediate reward, or a long term reward can be, well, let me track my progress in my journal. Today was a good day. That can be like how you marked off all your completed sessions. That can be a reward. Another one can be that's more so a morning study routine. A second example can be your evening routine, which is some of us work and we get off, we have to work and come home from study and come home from work to studying. So say you got off at 5 o'clock, you return home by 6 p.m. and you know you're not really ready to you just return at home, make it home by 6 o'clock, you're not really ready to study. That is truly the cue that triggers like the emotional state of returning home, the time, all those things. So the routine can literally be, okay, I'm going to have dinner when you get home at 6. You can have dinner and relax like 30 minutes to an hour. And then you start at 7 p.m. and then you can do you do Pomodoro techniques, and you say, I'm gonna do a Pomodoro technique here where, or I'll be like, it's just too much. Today I'm just gonna simply review my flashcards, practice questions. That's fine. But do a Pomodoro technique for about 2 hours, and then you summarize your key notes, or you can just do a note taking, and your reward can be simply because I came home and studied after work, I can watch my favorite TV show today. And that's your reward. That's an immediate reward right there. Or it can be your long term be absorbing how observing how you have improved your process. That is definitely one. But I want to get into even I recently had I was having a coaching call with a client last night, and for sake of names, that I'm just gonna call her Sarah today, right? So Sarah, she's preparing for the NAPLEX exam, and she has struggled with consistent study habits. So she decided to implement, the habit loop. Well, one of the things we do, we implement now. So we implement the habit study loop for her in her routine. So her cue was, you know, every single night she likes to make coffee. So you want to make coffee, a cup of coffee in the evening at 8 p.m., which is fine. She established a routine for studying. So she'll start studying for I'll say 1.5 hours using the Pomodoro technique because she works. And her reward is always after she's getting finished studying, she will read a book. So that was one of her things. But over the times, she noticed that by doing this, by having to, because she's a night owl. So the thing is, coming from working, she's kind of a little bit tired. She drinks a cup of tea. She gets some hours in. She studies, and her reward is simply like, oh, okay, because I did this, I can read. She doesn't watch TV. She like reading a book. So that was her thing. And over time, Sarah really noticed that how her study habits improved because of consistency, how she retained information, her confidence has boosted. Even when it comes to her her practice questions, she has improved a lot on that because her approach is more structured. So that's definitely a thing of just saying I want to, give you like a realistic one of identifying it, just in case you haven't. But um let's just recap. One of the things you can do how to break the bad habits: one, identifying the cue and really understand what that cue is. What's that bad trigger? Well, what's the negative trigger? And the second thing to do is create the routine behind it. Give yourself a routine to incorporate positive reinforcement. And the third thing would be to have your reward. You want to make sure that you have a reward, and of those things, you want to make sure you have that, because the habit loop is a great framework that you can leverage for your Naplex preparation, and it helps you to maximize your learning outcomes as well as reduce stress. Now, I did want to, as I change this here, I want to say this: always connect with me. I thank you for joining me. Ways to connect with me on Sundays on YouTube, release videos, Success Sundays. And this video is just all about creating success, whether you're on productivity, mindset, Naplex preparation, just being a pharmacist in general, because sometimes it's hard to keep going forward, just being a person and just being human. Okay. Um, on Mondays, you can catch me going live on YouTube, study with me from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Tuesday, if you haven't already, we have a newsletter come out every Tuesday. Formally moving for a newsletter as always. And something I'm so excited we just implemented is Thursdays Naplex question of the week. And you can take the poll on YouTube. It's a quiz on YouTube you can take. And then we're going to implement more ways of talking about the questions. So look forward to that. I thank you guys for joining me. It's been great and awesome. Hope you have an amazing day, and hope you had a good time with me during your lunch hour. So have a great day as always. Remember that pharmacy is only if you are. Now go be great. Thank you guys.